Hey guys, so I'm here today to tell you guys a little bit about who I am and why I entered the first Phorm athlete search. So, here we go. Growing up, I don't know, in ways I guess I knew that I was different from a lot of the people that I was around. I had 4 other sisters, so we had a pretty big family, and from a young age, both of my parents were disabled due to very serious heart conditions. So we lived off of Section 8 housing and food stamps. So it was pretty obvious that, like, we didn't have everything that everybody else had around us. And it was definitely tough, constantly being pulled out of class to be told, like, well, your dad had another heart attack and this and that, and you're going to be staying at this person's house, and being pulled out by the counselor to sit down and talk, and being asked how I felt and everything. And at a young age like that, you can't fully comprehend what's happening, so all I could feel was scared and anxious, and I like, because there was nothing I could do. It's hard, when something like that is happening and there's nothing that you can do to make it better. You just kind of have to hope and pray for the best. So it was rough, like, starting out at such a young age. Things were rough, and then on top of it, I got bullied at a young age. I got bullied for being a mixed girl in a predominantly white school. I was bullied for the things that I wore because I couldn't afford, like, the cool things that the popular kids wore, and I couldn't afford to go on certain trips because my parents had 4 other kids to worry about. And if I had never gotten bullied for it, I never would have known anything was wrong, because I still had a good childhood. I was still a happy kid when I was younger. I had fun with my sisters. I was always making jokes and laughing and playing around. It was only until I started getting bullied that I realized that I guess maybe there was something wrong with who I was. And so, I figured maybe if I started playing sports and, trying to fit in with some of these people, that it would get easier. And then on top of it, I didn't want my parents to worry or to suffer, financially the way they were. So at 14, I got my first job at a McDonald's. And, I contributed and I helped my parents out the best way that I could, and I gave them what I could. And, of course, there's always somebody has to say something about whatever. And so, of course, then that was the new thing that I got made fun of for. I got made fun of because I was now working at a McDonald's, and, I guess I don't know, I guess when you're 14, working at a McDonald's, I don't know why, but I got made fun of for it. And so at that point, I did not know what to do. I didn't know how to handle it. I was now this, like, anxious person who was angry all the time. I had, like, horrible anger problems because I was constantly trying to defend myself and figure out, like, why people didn't like me. Or at least that's how it felt to me. That's how I saw things. And so I, of course, turned to experimenting with drugs. So at 14, at the same age, I started smoking weed. And it was crazy the way it changed me. As soon as I started smoking weed, I all of a sudden became this, this loud, like, sarcastic, like, hard ass, and I thought I could do and say whatever I wanted, and go ahead and bully me and see what happens. Like, I'm not that girl I was before. Like, you're not going to get away with it. And, I thought I thought that solved all my problems. That's who I was supposed to be. And it made things 10 times worse, because that I was now getting in trouble, almost getting expelled from school, and constantly in and out of detention, constantly getting into fights and picking fights, and causing problems. And it made it so much harder for my parents, because now they're having to deal with the issues that I'm causing on top of their own health issues. And so it was a rough spot in my life. And then I feel like things just always, it was one thing after another. Like it was never just like one moment where we were just happy and things were peaceful. At 16, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease and fibromyalgia. And so it made me, I went right back to being that angry person again. I was like, well, like, what the hell? Like, why is this happening to me? Like, I've never even heard of this disease before. Like, what the heck is going on? And I now was taking like 10 pills a day in the morning and like the same amount at night, I guess, to like keep it in remission and everything. I'm now went from being able to eat whatever I wanted to being on a diet. And I was already small to begin with, so it's like when you say diet, it's like, what are you talking about? Like, are you serious right now? But like there were certain foods I wasn't allowed to eat, and now I'm like, I'm going through all this pain. I'm turning white in the face and sitting still and clenching my whole body and not being able to talk because it hurts so bad. And people didn't get it. People, there were people who thought I was making it up. People who tried so hard to understand, but they couldn't, no matter how hard they tried. And there were people who just didn't care. They like didn't have any sympathy for me whatsoever. They didn't care. Because I guess I get it. In their eyes, there is always somebody who's doing worse. But for me at 16, that was the worst for me. I didn't understand why it was happening to me, and it made me lash out even more. And it made things 10 times harder. And, looking back, I feel so bad for my parents having to put up with me. I was probably like a nightmare to deal with. But that's who I was. That's, anger and everything. Like that's how I dealt with my problems. And so all throughout high school, and early into college, that's who I was. I dealt with my problems by lashing out on people and starting fights and everything. And I even neglected myself. I didn't take my medication at all the way I was supposed to. And so I guess I deserved like being in the hospital as much as I was, because I wasn't doing anything to take care of myself. I didn't care. And so early into college, I started drinking every day to like fill the voids in my life, and to like ease my emotions so that I didn't have to deal with them so much. And I guess the same year that I started drinking, I was also sexually assaulted. And the girl that I was with when it happened, tried to convince me that, maybe I was too drunk and I don't remember consenting. And I was terrified to go to court and, to see those people again. So, I was convinced that it was my fault that it happened, because I allowed myself to even like be in that, I guess, in that area for it to happen. And I was drinking, so it was my fault that it happened. I allowed myself to feel that way for years, and it tore me apart. I didn't know who to talk to. Her parents, they found me the next day and took me to the hospital, and there was the proof right there that it happened. But they still didn't believe that it happened. And it kind of just, coming home to tell my parents that that had happened to me, it kind of, it ruined my world. It destroyed me. And I just, from that point on, I turned myself off and I was done. I started binge drinking every day until I would black out and not remember anything. I abused any and everything I could get my hands on, including all of my medication for the Crohn's, to the point where I ended up having 2 seizures from abusing the non-narcotic medications that I was given. And on top of it, I was in a very mentally and verbally abusive, toxic relationship. And I thought that, that's what I deserved. I didn't deserve anything better than that. So that's what I allowed myself to deal with on a daily basis. And that's what my life was. And I thought that that's okay. And that was just who I was now. And after about 4 or 5 years, I couldn't do it anymore. I mentally didn't have anything left to give. I was depressed. I didn't want to be here anymore, and I physically couldn't deal with the withdrawal that my body was going through every day. And so, I was called out on it, on my addiction and my alcoholism. And I spent the next month or so in a rehab. And somehow my parents forgave me and everything that I did. And I slowly began to pick up the pieces and put my life back together and start with a clean slate. And, I don't know why, but God definitely had other plans for me. I've been clean since November 21st, 2012, and ever since then, I changed my life, and in return, I was afforded so many things in my life. My now fiance is also in recovery, and I've been with him since I got clean. And I think we kind of pushed each other to stay clean and to make a better lives for ourselves. And we now have a 2-year-old daughter who I'm so blessed and grateful for. But, I don't want her to go through the same things that I went through. I don't want her to have to struggle the way that I did. And, I went back to school and everything. I got my phlebotomy license, and I'm now in school finishing my degree as a pediatric nurse. And getting clean is also where fitness came back into my life. I was always an athletic person. I always played sports. I always knew that no matter what I did in life, that fitness had to be a part of my life. It was something that not something that I wanted, but something that I needed in my life. It always brought me a sense of peace and a sense of calm. It was always my outlet. And so I recently, this last year, had gotten into bodybuilding, and this past summer, competed in my first 2 competitions where I placed second. And it was such a humbling and amazing experience. I fell in love with it right away. And the fact that I had done so well let me know that I was on the right track, that I was doing the right thing. I was finally taking care of myself and doing what I needed to do to make a better life for not just myself, but my daughter. I was fighting for what I wanted. I was fighting for what I deserved. And I think that's a big part of why I entered this athlete search. I deserve, to achieve my goals and to keep fighting on a daily basis. I've been through so much that I don't want my daughter to ever have to struggle or go without. I want her to have a good childhood and to know that she can look up to me as a role model, and that I will always be there for her, and that I will always work hard, and that I will never give up, and that I will always give her what she needs, and that she can always count on me, that I will always be there for her 100%. And I think the one thing that I respect about First Phorm so much is how genuine they are and how true they are to their brand. They don't just say something and then not deliver. Their products and who they are as a whole are true to their word. And that is something that I want to teach my kid, and that's something that I want to be a part of, especially in the fitness industry. I want to be able to help people. I want to be able to give back in a way that I didn't think that I ever could. And I'm going to make it in the fitness industry. I don't care how hard I have to work or what I have to do. I will make it. I will be known. I will be somebody that people can come to for help and that they trust and respect. And I definitely think being part of the First Phorm family, that will give me that platform to be able to help and give back to others. And not only that, I think it would allow me to start a whole new life for me and my family. I think it would give us so many opportunities that I didn't think that we would get. And damn it, I want it so bad. I can't even tell you how much this opportunity means to me. It's something that in my heart, I feel is right. And I feel like it's something that I'm ready for. And I will give my all, and I will put 110% everything that I have in my being into whatever I'm doing. And so I guess what I'm saying is I'm ready. I'm ready to keep fighting and to keep going and to give my family and myself, something that we can be proud of. And I know this video is a long video, and I'm sorry for that, but I really hope that you guys enjoy this. I really hope that you watch it all the way through, and I really hope that it gives you some kind of understanding into who I am and into why I entered this athlete search and why I'm doing what I'm doing. So thank you guys so much, and I'll see you later. Bye.